Welcome to the Value Wrestling Podcast. I'm the big time BT Baldwin. This is my tag team partner, Hollis Clark. And we are here to give you the best value in pro wrestling sports entertainment today. We are here to be a part of the IWC community of best. We vow to put the value back into wrestling. I'm the big time BT Baldwin.
I'm Hollis Clark.
And this is the Value of Wrestling Podcast. We welcome you back to another edition of the Value Wrestling Podcast. This is going to be our Payback 2020 review. We're going to go over everything that went on in the show, our feelings, where we go from here, thoughts, opinions, and all that other good stuff. So we'll give you the best value in professional wrestling and sports entertainment today. So we just got done watching Payback, and yeah, we're in a little different of a setup today. We're doing a video call. In this new modern age, this is sometimes the best way to do it. So we're going to try this too. So, I just got done watching Payback. Let's rewind back to the kickoff show where we had a match against the Riot Squad, Ruby Riot, and Liv Morgan, yes.
Versus the Iconic.
No, we got to do it right. We are iconic. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. So you have the Riot Squad that has come back together after splitting up, and you were going to have your own little thing with Liv Morgan, but that didn't pan out. So now they put the Riot Squad back together because, well, they didn't know what else to do with them. And then you have the Iconics for now because Billy Kay is here. Who knows how long Peyton Royce is here? Lucky Sean Spears. So the Riot Squad goes over the Iconics. I watched this match sort of. I didn't see anything spectacular. It was a great, finally, like the match that should be on the pre-show. It was a throwaway match. It had no anything except it gave the Riot Squad a win.
During this time of the match, I was actually making a pizza, so I actually didn't come in until like a minute maybe before the fall. So I missed most of the match. I didn't expect much out of this to begin with. I am kind of glad that they're actually giving Ruby Riot a win. Having the Riot Squad back, I think, is a good thing. Because the women's tag team division needs tag teams.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything great here. We'll see what this continues to do, and hopefully this will turn into something. Maybe they'll be the contenders for the winners of the women's tag team match, which we'll talk about later. But not much to say here. It was a kickoff match, and it was exactly what it should be, a kickoff match. So, great job to all four competitors for the match they gave. We started off Payback hot. I don't know if I'll say hot, but we started off Payback with Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews. And this was a Apollo Crews, Bobby Lashley, lackluster match. Why? Dear God, if they put Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar in a match together, I might have to drink the bleach because, I mean, there's not going to be much in that match.
The bleach?
Yeah.
I understand to drink the Kool-Aid, but the bleach didn't.
No, the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid's buying in. I'm saying I'm going to drink the bleach to get out of it because it's just going to be horrible because, I mean, we know what Brock Lesnar's going to do. Suplex, F5. And Bobby Lashley, well, what? Clothesline Dominator slap my ass?
I don't know. What I will say is the championship is on the right person out of this match.
Yes, I will say.
It would absolutely be on Bobby Lashley. It was not going to do anything on MVP. The win at SummerSlam, the fact that Apollo Crews retained, I was okay with that. Here tonight, Lashley picking up the win is the right call.
No, I agree. I think it needed to go to Lashley at this point in this point. It didn't do anything on Apollo Crews. There was nobody going forward really for Apollo Crews to take on that was really going to do any justification in him having that title. It just wasn't that great of a match overall. It was kind of just boring. I mean, we've been going around with this, but at least it gives the Hurt Club another title. Oh, Hurt Business, yeah, Hurt Club, Hurt Business. Rip off of Nation of Domination type of.
Not to be confused with the Beatdown Clan when they were in TNA.
The Beatdown Clan, yes. Well, that wasn't Shelton Benjamin. That was
Granted.
Kenny.
But it still was MVP and it still was Lashley.
That was Kenny, wasn't it? Not Omega, but that was another Kenny, wasn't it?
Kenny King.
Yes, there you go. So.
Hey, it was also Loki, so.
But yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to the topic.
It was a quick, basic match. Nothing important here. Nothing much I was tuned in for. I don't know where you stood on it. It was just a match to get the title on Lashley, and now Lashley has the belt. Hopefully they can move him into...
I think I get a little more joy out of it than you do. Because when we look at our SummerSlam review, and you look just the comments between you and I during this pay-per-view, I think I'm a little easier to satisfy because I don't come with expectations.
No, well, true. Well, I come with heavy expectations because I expect better. I've been watching wrestling since the mid-'80s. I've seen the rise of Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, the Macho Man Randy Savage. We watched the greatness of Ric Flair and, the Dusty Rhodes. I mean, you watch all this glory stuff that really happened in the 80s. You saw the rise of Hulk Hogan. You saw the Macho Man. You saw the Mega Powers come together. You saw them divide. You saw the rise of the Ultimate Warrior. In NWA, you saw the rise of NWA, WCW, Georgia Championship Wrestling, all those eras. You saw Dusty Rhodes create one of the great promos of the time, and you saw the greatness of Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen of that era. And then we ran into the 90s, where we did hit a bit of a slump. We got into a lot of cartoon-esque wrestling, but then you had NWO kickoff, and you had the Attitude Era, and you had these...
You said the Attitude Era.
Yeah. Well, you had two great... I mean, you had the Golden Era, you had the little slump there, and then you had the Attitude Era, and you had great wrestling. Now, all of a sudden, we've been dying for great wrestling again, something to pique us. So, yeah, I think maybe you don't come with expectations, but I think I come with expectations because it's required to come with expectations because this has got to be better than this is. There's so much there. There's so much amazing talent, and the fact that they don't use this talent to the ability or the process that they can or the talent can get over. Yes, some of it's talent, some of it's creative writing, but in this day and era with so much talent from so many different places and so many different directions, there's got to be more. So yeah, you may not come with expectations. Maybe that's it. Maybe I just still hold some accountability to saying it can be better. So overall, I mean, it was a Lashley Apollo Crews match. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I think you and I follow similar things in the sense of, we were talking with the last night, I believe, real quickly on Messenger, where I said, isn't it kind of strange that, all this, current stuff, and I'm watching the WWE Network for older stuff, more specifically WCW.
Oh yes, because you have officially drank the Kool-Aid and bought the WWE Network for $9.99.
All these years, I bit the bullet, yeah.
You drank the Kool-Aid, you paid your $9.99, and now you, too, are a member of the WWE Network. And there's that free tier, which is stupid. I am surprised I never went through with the tier process, but that's fine. I mean, the $9.99, I think it's a good price. It works. You get the pay-per-views. I'm happy. It's enjoyable, and I can go back and watch all the old great stuff and go, oh, wrestling was good. What I can pass on to my kids going, yes, this is why I fell in love with wrestling.
Back in the day, you had to have a gigantic tape collection to be able to do that, and now a lot of it is just all in this network. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the technology is just great.
Well, back then you had to go down to the video store, rent a tape, or you had to know somebody who had the tapes, or you had to pay a bunch of money for pay-per-view. But I mean, again, me and you as kids or teenagers, however you want to put it, I mean, there was plenty of nights we sat up watched Monday Night Raw and Thunder and SmackDown and Nitro and all these things. So, I mean,
And then if on to the Hispanic accounts, you could watch the MLL back in the day.
There you go. Yeah, and there used to be, I mean, if you go way back in the day, like early 90s, I think it was, if you watched ESPN, was Global Force. No. Huh?
No.
World Class might have been there a little bit, but there was a Global Wrestling something, not Global Force. I almost said Global.
Oh, Global Wrestling Federation.
Yes. Where I first.
I forgot what channel it was on, but yeah,
it was on ESPN. It was on.
First time I saw John Waltman.
Yes, it was on early 90s. It was ESPN. It's where you met Jeff Jarrett. The Patriot was on there. Hot Stuff, Eddie Gilbert. The 1-2-3 Kid. It was, It was something to watch. And then if you got real lucky and looked around, you could find Jim Cornette in his Smoky Mountain Wrestling. This was pretty entertaining, where two great stars came out of it, one named Chris Jericho, one named Lance Storm as the, what was their tag team name? The Thrillers. Oh, I forget what their tag team name is. I
don't recall right off the top of my head either.
Damn it, something Thrillers.
Interesting character that came from Smoky Mountain. Well, not the most interesting, but one of the most interesting is New Jack. Before the DC time.
Yes, very true. Well, you know, like Kane came through there as like something Christmas for a little bit too. Or Dr. Isaac Yankem, which we won't talk about too much. But anyways, back to Payback before we get way out there and sidetracked. So we had the Bobby Lashley's now your United States champion, and that is what it is. Do you have anything else you want to add to that commentary?
It's a much better U.S. champion than Apollo's going to be. Not that Apollo couldn't have gone over, but I have no faith in the booking of this character.
So I think the next 1, 2, 3, 4 matches were absolutely predictable and kind of a letdown. Next we had Big E versus Sheamus. This was a Big E Sheamus match. I mean, they both got their high spots in. It was nothing to write home about. We knew coming into it that Big E was going to win it. I mean, you read the writing on the wall. Big E is going to be going for the main title at some point. A lot of speculation is that Randy Orton will win the title and then Big E might go on. I mean, I'm sure this may be the direction they may go now. They may push Big E into winning the Royal Rumble and then getting a title match against Randy Orton or whoever may be the other side. I don't know. But yeah, maybe Roman Reigns. Maybe Big E will win the Royal Rumble and take on Roman Reigns. There you go. But Big E beat Sheamus. We all saw that coming. I mean, you had to be special. You had to be sleeping under a rock for the last several weeks if you thought that, you know, it was just the fact of the matter that Big E was going to win. And there's no doubt about it. And that's what happened. I mean, they got their high spots in. It was a good Sheamus Big E match for what it was. I won't write home. I won't write some great stories, but it is what it is. It was a match to get Big E to the next step.
You have two big heavyweights that you know how they work. So I didn't expect this to be a great technical match. I didn't expect this to be an uber exciting match.
Yeah.
I expected them to hit power move here and there. And then, once again, you know, because they are pushing Big E, I expected him to win. So that's where, like I said, that's where that is.
Yep. Nope. Not much to write about there. And then we went right into another almost boring match. We had Matt Riddle versus King Corbin, and you knew Riddle was going to win.
I was surprised by this match. King Corbin actually sold a little bit more than I expected him to, and vice versa. And Matt Riddle actually sold more for King Corbin than I thought he would.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've been interested in either of them. Corbin only did stuff for me in NXT. He came to the main roster, then it was just like, nah. And then when they tried to shove him down his throat as an authority figure, it was even more yet. And then they gave him the King of the Ring title. I'm just like, I don't know what you want us to do with Corbin. I mean, good heel. Glad he's a heel. He can stay there, but there's nothing like you had an opportunity to make him something. You never did it. Now he's just a mid-card jobber, slot filler. You know.
Like I said in my prediction video, King Corbin right now is a gatekeeper. He's filling the Dolph Ziggler role.
Yeah, no. And that's very true. He's that mid guy that you have to beat and get over, and you get past it. And that's what Matt Riddle had to do, and that's what Matt Riddle did. I don't think I'm a diehard fan of Matt Riddle either.
Matt Riddle, when he was on the Independents, came in really hot.
Yes.
Matt Riddle coming into NXT came in really hot. How the fandom has died, or the creator, I don't know what it is, but since him to the main roster, him to SmackDown, it's just not the same, and I don't know what they need to do to get him where he needs to be.
I don't know. Maybe they need to bring back the Monday Night Delight, Mr. Monday Night himself, RVD, and they can sit in the ring and be like, bro.
Only problem with that is RVD has a contract with Impact Wrestling.
No, I know. He's with Impact Wrestling, and he's getting a little chubby at his age, and
yeah,
he doesn't look too like fit. Like, I still don't know. He does some stuff, but I'm still like, it's just, he looks like a old aged RVD for sure. I'm just like, yeah. And some of the stuff they have him doing in Impact just hit and go, wow. Like, yeah, okay. So I'm not.
You can tell he's doing it for the money.
Oh yeah. You can tell his heart's not in it. The only thing he cares about is the money and the. So, I don't know how many. I think most of that time he's pretty high. I just the way he acts, the way he comes across, I'm just like, yeah, he's hot. There's nothing wrong with it.
Is it an act or is it authentic?
No, I believe it's authentic. So. It is what it is. I think that I don't know. Matt Riddle's Matt Riddle. Hopefully, he comes back around. He was okay, kind of in NXT, but never really did too much for me. He still hasn't really done anything to make me go, "Oh, Matt Riddle." I know he's tried to pick fights with Goldberg and Lesnar. He wants to get in there with them, and I'm just going, yeah. I know he came to MMA or whatever, wherever he came from, over and like, okay, cool. Like, yeah. So I think that's all I can say about that. So after the Matt Riddle King Corbin match, Matt Riddle went over. We had that ended. Then we went into the women's tag team title match, which, I mean, we knew what was coming out of that. I mean, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus the Golden Role Models. Which I guess they're not that golden anymore. They've lost the Golden Role Models, and they've already lost 3 of their belts, and so now they're just barely gold. And we knew going into this Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler were going to win. I mean, that was just, you knew they were going to be the next women's tag team champions. You're going to do the old, I think it was Austin Triple H, Austin Shawn Michaels. I mean, I don't know how many times they've done this. 2 people who don't like each other becoming tag team partners, forced together. So this is probably going to lead to them having the titles for a little bit, probably bickering back and forth. It was kind of funny to see them hug, and then Shayna Baszler was like, oh. There was a little entertainment into it. Otherwise, it was just, I don't know how anybody can have a match with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Shayna Baszler is more of a ground and pound submission. Nia Jax just, I don't know. She doesn't do anything for me. She's just the big brute that just knocks people down, but she still doesn't know what she's doing in there. And of course, this just furthers the storyline between Bayley and Sasha, which we know is coming. One of them's going to
give the storyline to Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, as opposed to them just attacking each other.
Yeah.
Now they at least have a reason to be around each other.
Yeah, we'll see how long this lasts. I'm just surprised that, like, they brought Shayna Baszler up. They had the perfect opportunity to give her the women's title. They didn't want to pull the trigger. I think it kind of hurt her a little bit coming in to lose that quickly on the biggest stage. Nia Jax has done nothing but hurt everybody, so I'm just not impressed. I do like Shayna Baszler. I think Shayna Baszler has potential if you give her the right model, but I guess we're looking at another gatekeeper match. Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler. Nia Jax being the women's gatekeeper type of thing. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if I call Nia Jax the gatekeeper. That to me is more like Tamina.
Yeah. But when's the last time you've seen Tamina actually wrestle?
They do it infrequently.
Because I would tell you, Tamina and Natalya would be your gatekeepers in the women's division, but it seems like
Natalya shouldn't be a gatekeeper, but I have to agree with you.
But I would think right now Nia Jax is kind of playing that role, because that's all it is really for Shayna Baszler, because Nia Jax doesn't do anything for anybody. They haven't let her build her credibility up. They brought her in as a monster heel. She did okay. And then they lined her with Alexa Bliss, and then they had Alexa Bliss. So they did the whole stupid bully angle, turned her face for a little bit. That didn't go over too well. And then she turned heel and then been out for either being hurt or hurting somebody else. So best thing for Nia Jax is to probably go back to NXT.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to start singing wrestling fans' favorite song.
No. I'll give her a sliver of opportunity to redeem herself and say send her back to NXT.
Gotcha.
Other than that, yeah, I don't know what to say. It was another match that really didn't do anything. I mean, it did, you know, fill in the storylines that are coming. Otherwise, it was just a match. Yes, it did, you know, put Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler moving on to their next part as tag team champions. We know what's going to happen there. I guess that's where my little disappointment comes in, because it's that same rehashed storyline. You have two people who don't like each other that you don't want to tear each other up. We're putting the titles on them. And it's going to be reminiscent. It's a little reminiscent of like Triple H and Austin, because I think they did that same. Like, they hugged and were kind of buddies for a little bit when they first did. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, we don't like each other. So maybe they'll.
Hey, at least they're not being called the two-woman power trip, okay?
Not yet. Don't speak of these things. Vince watches this crap. The next thing you know, he's going to be saying, "That's a great idea. You two are going to be the two-woman power trip." Yes. Get my jollies off. But we shall see. Maybe they'll do something to surprise us. But you know, this is, and the fact of the matter, doesn't lead to anything. Usually when they do this, one of them has like the world title, and it leads into that. This is just going to lead to them having the tag titles, and then Shayna Baszler is going to eventually beat Nia Jax. And I guess the one key factor is it looks like they're going to turn Shayna Baszler face. Because, I mean, that or they're trying to screw the lines like Cody Rhodes has and just trying to make everybody not face or heel or any of this, which is just like, I can't, even that doesn't work. There's got to be somebody, you know, and maybe it's not the typical face and heel thing, but they're still going to be the people, the main people root for them and the people they boo. I mean, it's just, but I mean, unless they're going to take Shayna Baszler super heel and make Nia Jax babyface again, which is just a joke, because I don't want to eat that sandwich.
Right.
So, anyways, that's that. And we know Bayley and Sasha Banks are heading towards their feud. They've lost the Women's SmackDown title because Sasha Banks, like Bayley says, just can't get the big job done, you know. Which was quite funny on SmackDown. She's like, well, you know, I shouldn't have put you in that match because I know, you know, you can't win the big one, you know. And then some people are only meant to carry the tag team title. Definitely planting the seeds on just kind of like, how do they play this out? Because you're gonna have Bayley being the super heel and Sasha Banks being the underdog. Like, look at what Bayley's doing to Sasha, and Sasha can't win the big one, and da-da-da-da-da. So, you know one of them's going to turn on the other. Is it Sasha turns on Bayley and Sasha goes heel and Bayley becomes face again? Or is Bayley going to stay heel and Sasha going to be the baby face? And I don't think either is a win-win in any of that. I mean, I guess I'd rather see Bayley. I'd rather see Sasha turn on Bayley, forcing Bayley to go face and Sasha to become the boss again and get her, whatever the female equivalent to machismo back would be. So we know with the Sasha Banks Bayley match that's eventually coming. It just depends. I want to see Sasha go back to being the boss and the heel. I'm okay with Bayley.
Please.
I'm okay with Bayley going back to being the face. Though I'd rather see Bayley heel. But if it means giving me Boss Banks back, super heel format, and then I'd rather have that and have Bayley face. So. That's I think Sasha turning on Bayley because Bayley's making these undercuts, but it's hard to say. Right now I think it's probably Sasha going babyface, just because even if she turns on Bayley at this point, it's going to be like getting redemption because Bayley's being Bayley. So
yeah, they're pushing Sasha to be more sympathetic than Bayley, so yeah, I definitely see it that way too.
So that was that match. The Gold Role Models have lost their titles again, and now they're on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So we'll see where we go from here. I don't know who you're going to put against them two. That's going to be I don't know who you can have in the women's division that can beat Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax and be believable to beat them. I mean,
watch it be like a random team up, like Mickey James and Charlotte or some BS out of nowhere.
Well, you could definitely do something with Charlotte and put her in there with somebody, or you could do Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. But you'd have to make Charlotte face, and Charlotte sucks as a face.
I don't necessarily agree that she sucks as a face, but just like Sasha Banks, she is better heel.
Charlotte needs a manager. That's all. Charlotte's not good at giving promos. Like her.
I'm okay with her promos. What I hate is that she overuses the woo. Like, okay, the woo, I understand, but because of the way it's said, well, you know, like it represents her father, but it's still kind of personalized because it fits her femininity. But she overdoes the woo. I'm just like, either cut it out or.
I don't know. I feel she's too. I feel she's too robotic in her speeches, too force feeding, just too. I guess I hold her to a higher standard because she's a Flair, and I'm thinking Ric Flair gave some of the best promos, and she's just not there. But I mean, it's like I think she could give better promos. I don't feel like she's real. I think that's the big thing with Charlotte. I've never felt like there's a real part to Charlotte. I was so disappointed when she beat Rhea Ripley. I thought that was such a wrong idea, but I guess you could use Rhea Ripley and somebody else, somebody from NXT. Most likely, you're gonna have to find two people down there. Truth Martinez, I think that's that female Martinez. I forget. Names change so much; it's hard to keep up with. So that's that. We'll see what happens and who can possibly beat Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the women's tag team titles. Right now, I don't know anybody for sure.
So who you were trying to think of a moment ago with Mercedes Martinez.
There we go. There we go.
I mean, big deal in the indie scene. I am surprised it took WWE this long to bring her up. At least even just to NXT. I have no understanding because she's been making splashes everywhere for the last over 15 years.
Yeah.
Now, back to someone who used to watch the early days of Shimmer, and the DVDs and that kind of stuff. So it's like that's what the indie explains.
Well, with that said, let's get into the next match. And that next match was Keith Lee and Randy Orton, and that was a basic match of Randy Orton and Keith Lee. It's kind of what you expected. We knew Keith Lee was going to get the win. I could see Randy Orton getting the win, but again, I still have to go with Keith Lee because he's brand new, and that would have been his first big win. And if you didn't give him that win, it would have hurt everything he was going for. Still don't like the music, still don't like the look necessarily. I don't know what the AJ Styles meeting Viking Raiders combination outfit it was. Don't know why he has a t-shirt on other than Vince doesn't like people who have a bit of a belly on them because he wants the big muscular abs guys. It was a basic match. I don't think there was anything great about it. It's two guys doing their thing. You had the big spots for Randy, and Keith Lee countered. The nice finish though, when Orton came around, the RKO, took him around, put him up and down, stood down, power bomb. 1, 2, 3, a bit unsuspected, so I'll give him that. I wasn't thinking it would have ended there, but it did, and it was what it needed to do. It got Keith Lee the momentum for wherever he goes next. Because he won't, maybe on Monday nights we see a Keith Lee Randy Orton match, a rematch, maybe this Monday. Other than that, there's not going to be this long-term Keith Lee Randy Orton feud. Randy Orton's going to go back to feuding with Drew McIntyre for however long that needs to carry on. Hopefully maybe another month, and then either Orton takes the title or Orton gets written out of that picture, depending on what they want to do with that. I just don't know. There's a couple things that are still in the new flex. I mean, they could have Orton beat him. I wonder if they're going to bring back Brock Lesnar to help interfere or come back to redeem himself against Drew McIntyre, which I really hope they don't. I don't really need that. I mean, there's no reason for a bounce back match in that.
Not until at least closer to WrestleMania.
Well, not even.
WrestleMania era.
Maybe, but I still don't know. I mean, we've seen it. It's kind of what it is. I don't think there's much more they're going to give us. So Keith Lee wins over Randy Orton, and it was, a match. I won't say it was great. They did their job. They did what they needed to, and it is what it is. And now we see where they go from there. Who does Keith Lee go hit up next? That's the bigger question.
Yeah, that's the story there. I agree.
So from there we went to the rematch from Monday Night Raw. Dominic and Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy.
Nobody Murphy.
It was another decent match. It did show that Dominic has some skills. There was that great slide on the apron into kind of the 619, which was pretty cool. The ending was fairly interesting. We thought he was going to throw Ray in for the 619, but then he threw Ray out. Ray did that sunset kind of power bomb into the wall, and then the frog splash for the finish. 1, 2, 3. Dominic does do a good frog splash. I wonder if he learned that from his uncle or his daddy Eddie, or whichever it is.
Uncle Daddy, Uncle.
Uncle Daddy, Uncle. But again, it was a rehash. They won again. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here with all of these guys. Well, I mean, speculating, I would say that we have to build, and I think it would be a good build. I think it would be helpful to Seth Rollins. I think it would be helpful to Dominic, and I think you build into it till WrestleMania. I think I think the consensus, or what we would want to believe, or maybe it's just a me thing, but I think Dominic turning on Ray at some point is kind of the direction we're hitting, and I think Dominic drinking the Kool-Aid and joining Seth Rollins would make it even more predominant. It really help him get more over. I think, at some point, I don't know what's next. Do we have another Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio match? Do we have another Dominic Seth Rollins match? I guess you have to go Rey Mysterio to have Dominic against Seth Rollins, to have Dominic turn on him. But we also just saw that Murphy screwed up, and in that match where Dominic was supposed to go in the corner, but he reversed it on Seth Rollins, and Buddy kicked up his feet and knocked down Seth Rollins instead. So, are we going to get a divide from Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy? I think that would be bad. I think where Seth Rollins is right now, he needs more people. I mean, maybe that's just me, and I like kind of the stable-esque thing. I think
it's just going to turn to an abusive relationship for a little while.
Well,
or he just berates him for,
and that's fine, because really Seth Rollins needs to grow kind of. Not to steal from AEW, but Seth Rollins needs to kind of have his own quote unquote dark order. I don't know if it needs to be that big in numbers, but I would say 5 or 6 people in that grouping, even a manager. I get Seth Rollins where he doesn't even talk because he's so exalted and it's the Messiah, and the only time he talks is when it's like most impressive. I give him a manager that does all the talking for him, and makes Seth Rollins not talk most of the time, just because he's become holier than thou. I would carry that whole God complex and only let him speak when it's of the most absurdity. But then again, Brody Lee does a lot of talking too and still pulls it off. So I don't know. You could have Seth Rollins' abuse of power. But I think about 5 or 6 people in the stable. I keep Buddy Murphy. I think you bring back AOP and put them back with Seth Rollins. Even though I think they could do more, I don't know another tag team right now that you could put with Seth Rollins that would be able to be kind of the extreme bodyguards, because that's what he needs. He needs those bodyguards. Murphy's not a very good bodyguard. He's a lackey. He's a follower, and then you need some bodyguards to back Rollins. But you need a cult. He really needs a cult with this Monday Night Messiah. I would build a cult. I'd put people behind him, and I'd have them drink the juice, and then I'd have Dominic turn on Ray and buy into the juice and become a disciple of Seth Rollins. You slowly build that bridge. I think, at some point closer to the end of this year, you have this turn, You have them totally obliterate, take out Rey Mysterio, where he has to go. You write him off TV. He goes out on injury, and then you put Dominic in the Royal Rumble. I don't know. Maybe you put all of Seth Rollins' people in the Royal Rumble, and you have them build up, in the Rumble there, and then have Rey Mysterio come out as one of the surprise returns. While Dominic's in the ring, and you set off their feud for what would culminate in the match at WrestleMania, which Dominic would have to win. I mean, yeah, you could build Rey to be the underdog and make him think that going into WrestleMania he's going to win, but I think the bigger thing is Dominic would have to beat Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, and he would definitely be set wherever you want to take him. But right now, I think Seth Rollins needs his crew back. He needs that cult, and hopefully they do that. I mean, maybe they'll keep Dominic face. I don't know. Maybe this will never turn out to anything. If they don't do that, I don't know where I don't know where this feud goes. I don't know where you take Rey from here. I don't know where you take Dominic from here, unless you start putting Dominic through the gatekeepers. And I don't know what you do with Seth Rollins, unless you split him and Buddy Murphy, and then Buddy Murphy is going to get a big win and big sympathy push and go face over Seth Rollins and then fall off the face of the earth. Because he's hot right now, and he's a great talent and has the capabilities, but if they do this Seth Rollins-Buddy Murphy split, he's going to go face, beat Seth Rollins, get his big, yay, Buddy got over, got back at Seth Rollins, and then go where?
Catering.
With Titus O'Neil? I mean, that's just where I see it going. If it goes that way, I mean, it's like the only thing I can see that would make sense and be a good storyline, honestly, which would be the thing that would be pulling me, is you continue this feud, you start the dissension somewhere with Rey, and I think part of what I saw tonight was, I forgot who got the win on Monday night, but I know tonight you could see that Rey was getting the worst of the end of it, was having a hard time getting his moves off, getting his pins off. I definitely think you can get Dominic to a point where he's like, I had to carry my daddy. Oh, I carried you, daddy. I'm sick and tired of carrying daddy and tired of being in your shadow. I'm tired of carrying your legacy. I'm better than you. So, I mean, they definitely put into place those things as I see it. But again, don't know.
Alright, moving on. Next match.
Well, that was the final match. That was the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, and Braun Strowman. So, this match I think was just... It did the job they wanted to do. It did everything we all didn't want to do. I mean, it was a joke. It was a waste of 2 matches, really. It was a waste of 2 freaking matches. Yeah. SummerSlam was a complete waste because there was no reason to put Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, the winner, to give him a title, to give him a Universal title, just to go a week later and have him drop it to not even, well, yeah, he didn't get pinned, but Roman Reigns pins Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is supposed to be healed, but now looks weaker than ever. I mean, it's just, the 2 matches are total waste now. They're total garbage. I mean, the SummerSlam match wasn't that great. It got the Fiend the title. Something good could have came, and now Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion, and the whole crap on it was, we saw Roman Reigns come back at SummerSlam, come out, hit the spear, take down, beat the snot out of Braun Strowman with that chair. I mean, he just laid into him. We saw the big dog, the angry big dog. He was talking smack. He was talking all this garbage. Then we come to Payback. The Fiend comes down, gets in the ring, while the lights are still out, gets attacked from behind by Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman starts beating him down. Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman beat each other all over the inside of that arena. Go up to the top rope for a double, or for a super suplex, and break the ring. Charles Robinson does the weirdest fallout I've seen of a referee in that whole thing, and I love Charles Robinson. So Little H falls out of the ring, and that was that. But then finally, here comes Roman Reigns. The whole time this match is going on, no Roman Reigns, and then he finally comes out with Paul Heyman. Finally decides to sign the contract that was going around from SmackDown on the entrance ramp, comes down with the chair. Initially, doesn't even use the chair, just throws it down, jumps in the rings, and tries to pin the Fiend, not once but twice, which he failed at. Then he tried to cover Braun Strowman, not once but twice, and failed at that. So then he goes, oh, now I'm going to use the chair. He goes to swing it at the Fiend, but the Fiend then gets the mandible claw, While he's in the Mandible Claw, he gets a nut shot on the Fiend, and then he starts wailing half-assed. Like, he did not wail on Braun Strowman tonight like he did at SummerSlam. Like, when he came out at SummerSlam, he wailed, or at least he made it look like he was wailing on Braun Strowman. Tonight, he looked like he was hitting, like, trying to, like, slap the flies off of Braun Strowman's back with those chair shots. I'm, like, going... And... it was just weak, and then he came up, we saw the spear, we knew it was coming, he hit Braun Strowman with one spear, 1, 2, 3, he's the new Universal Champion. And so they've either done the task of making me want to hate Roman so bad because it was such a crap way to have him come back. Like, you gave everybody this idea of the badass Roman Reigns, that there's plenty of people who like this Roman Reigns when he's a badass by himself, and they let him be him turned up. And that's what we saw coming out of SummerSlam, like this badass Roman Reigns. Like, yeah, he's heel. He's going to come out and, you know, be the dominant heel. And tonight he was the sissy heel. Like if they would have given me more, if they would have, like, shown in the back why he wasn't out there and had Paul Heyman been like, wait, don't go out there yet. We're going to wait. We're going to pick our opportunities. Giving me somewhere he's, like, he needs to be the just hungry dog, like the ravaging, rabid dog that's ready to come out and tear into everything. Not this, like... come down in the middle of the match and do a couple of cheap chair shots, and like there was nothing about him tonight that we saw would have happened on SummerSlam. Like this SummerSlam anger, that SummerSlam, like you could see in his eyes, you could feel the intensity he had. Tonight, I didn't feel any intensity.
Don't you like it when a plan comes together? That's all Paul Heyman cared about. That's all what Roman Reigns cared about. He did not give a about pleasing the fans. He cared about the title. That was it. And that's what they presented.
True. I mean,
we're building up that anticipation. Because you knew he was going to still take part in the show. But they wanted you to say, hey, where's Roman Reigns? Why isn't he a part of this match? And even as smart fans, we were still asking that question. Knowing that this was their plan.
Well, I mean,
the way they were booking it.
I was asking because I was like going, there's got to be more than this. I was hoping there was going to be more than this, not the way they went about it. I mean, I could see the writing on the wall halfway through that it was going to be some cheesy thing where he's going to come down and be like, yeah, I'm here, yeah. And I just wanted more. I just expected more. I want to buy in. I want to buy into this Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman relationship, but I need a Roman Reigns that's like vengeful and villainous, and I don't know.
The way he was spoken wasn't villainous enough?
No, it was...
That didn't irritate the hell out of you?
Well, it irritated me because it was cheesy heel. It wasn't the heel that I think Roman Reigns can play. It was just kind of, And I still don't know. That's kind of the point. I still don't know what's going to happen because I don't know how long this is going to last. And I'm just afraid that at some point they're going to go, okay, we're going to turn Roman back heel. And does that mean they bring Brock Lesnar? I'm like, when Brock shows up, and Brock can't be without Paul Heyman because Brock can't really talk. Yes, he's done some promos in his career, but he's not. He's Brock.
He's going to go celebrate, and he has hope for his wife. And sorry, going back to that USB promo that he did.
Well, Mark Merrill might not be too happy about hearing. Oh wait, no, never mind. He might be okay with that by now.
At this point, he don't give a shit.
No, he doesn't. He's off to it. It's a good thing. But I'm like, Brock Lesnar's got to come back, and then it's going to be Paul Heyman, and there's Brock Lesnar over here by himself, and then there's Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman, and you bring Brock back with Paul Heyman. I just have this weird feeling that that's going to be what we're going to see at some point. It's Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar fighting again for a title. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. The other scary aspect of that is Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns being a tag team. Being buddies. Not a tag team like that.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
It's just like it's just when I don't know what could you see. Okay, we bring Brock Lesnar back for Survivor Series. We scratch out Orton. Orton doesn't win the title. Drew McIntyre still has the title. Survivor Series. Brock Lesnar returns to get a rematch for his title, and Roman Reigns comes out and helps Brock Lesnar win the WWE Champion. So now they're the two. Paul Heyman has both the Universal and the world championship in his little mini stable? I mean, sure.
Maybe.
I'm sure it could work. I mean, maybe, if WWE wants to dig into the old bag of tricks and go way back in the Wayback Machine over there, because you can watch it on the WWE Network for just $9.99. The Dangerous Alliance. You could rebuild a Dangerous Alliance. Why? I don't know. But, I mean, if you're going to have Roman Reigns... I mean, I guess Roman Reigns is... See, here's the other thing. You have no Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman's not in charge of Raw anymore. He's still under contract, so they have to use him. So is this just a place filler for Paul Heyman? You know, what... It's... I don't know. I want this to be something. I could see it being something with him. I would hope that at this point, Paul Heyman and WWE and Creative and all these people would come together. And I know Roman Reigns is really a Paul Heyman guy, and there's a lot of people in WWE that are Paul Heyman guy. Whether you agree with everything Paul Heyman has ever done or drink his version of the Jesus juice is a whole different story. But I think Paul Heyman, if they used it right, if they do it right, and I mean if they do it right, you could have Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar kind of be coexist. Maybe not best friends, maybe not best buds. They ain't going to go... Well, I'm sure that if they have to be with Paul Heyman, they're going to go out for a tag team match at some point, which is fine, but they don't need to do it like constantly. They don't need to have the tag team titles, because if they give each of them the world title, they give world title to Brock, and they give the universal title to Roman Reigns, and then they give them a tag team title. We're just repeating history. That's not good for these two. But they could carry the main titles, and you add a few more people behind Paul Heyman. You let him have a Dangerous Alliance or whatever new form or faction that he can get. Bring some young talent. Hell, have Paul Heyman behind Retribution and Roman Reigns and build around that. And give Paul Heyman a stable of people. And maybe I can buy into that. Like, they want to do something there. Then that would help out Paul Heyman. And you can, like... Paul Heyman's like here to take over, and he's tired of being, fired every time he turns around for something, or not pleasing the boss. Paul Heyman is a great reason to be ahead of Retribution thinking about it, but I digress. Your new Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. What happens from here?
Anybody's guess.
There's speculation that it could be Roman Reigns versus Big E at WrestleMania. There's still speculation that Roman Reigns and Goldberg are going to have that match that they were supposed to have at WrestleMania.
If Reigns goes over, I'm down. If not,
well, if it's Goldberg Reigns or Big E.
If Roman Reigns beats Goldberg, I'm down. Otherwise, I don't want to see it.
I think if you take them both to WrestleMania in the current form, you'd probably have a Goldberg go over. I'm just saying it because it would be the Universal title last year, or the big match was the World title, which Drew McIntyre won. So yeah, you put the babyface over Roman Reigns. Now that doesn't mean that Goldberg have a short-term run and lose the title back to him or whatever. Or you do a screwy storyline. You don't have Brock Lesnar come back at all until Goldberg wins the World or the Universal title for Roman Reigns. Then you have Brock Lesnar show up and go, ha ha, you can't get the job done. I can. Beats Goldberg for the World title, and then you can set up Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the World title or Universal title down the line. Not good storyline, but I mean, you can do many possible things in there. I don't like any of those scenarios, really. I mean, the one scenario I think I could buy into is that they keep Roman Reigns there, they eventually bring Brock Lesnar, and try to find a mutual respect, or I don't know if you ever have to have mutual respect. You just have Heyman as the middle guy that keeps them towing that line. You have to have enough tension that's still there because they're bitter enemies. You can't not unwrite. It's going to be incredibly hard to unwrite that history. I mean, WWE can basically throw it all out the window and say, hey, now they're best friends, and make anybody who's a smart mark feel stupid because, they hate us. They hate us smart marks.
That's like Austin and McMahon getting along. It's like, yeah, you can do it for a temporary amount of time.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is Vince hates us. I mean, Vince literally just, the smart marks are the ones he hates the most, and that's why I think he does so much shitty crap he does to us to piss us off. He likes the normal casual fans who are there, and that's what he appeases to. But I mean, they either would have to throw out the whole book of Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar's history and throw it all out the window and let them be friends, or you'd have to bring them together with like this intensity where they don't like each other, like they butt heads a lot alone.
But they can work together.
But Paul Heyman is that towing line that's able to, like, you know, get them to focus on the common goal. And then if you do that, and then if this is the direction, I'm sorry, I think you have to build a stable around Paul Heyman. I don't think you just give him Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Like, you've got to build a stable there to give it more because then you just have two guys that you don't like each other, but you can toe the line, but that's going to break at some point. You need that faction to help build that around. And then how? I mean, what you could do is if you build a faction around Paul Heyman, you could eventually build to a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar feud where you basically turn Lesnar into the face, and then you get rid of Lesnar. I mean, you write Lesnar away, or Lesnar's done, or retire Lesnar, whatever it is. You have Roman beat him and take him out as a heel. I don't want to see Roman Reigns as a face taking out Lesnar again, but maybe him as a heel and Lesnar as a face, which is really, really hard to do because Lesnar without a voice, without a mic piece, he can do all right, but in little doses. But yeah, that's the only thing that can hurt him there. But so Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion. Bray Wyatt's kind of, we don't know. We did get bits and pieces of Alexa Bliss staring at a screen playing with her hair, mesmerized, but we didn't get anything that was coming to fruition to give us anything of like it's this horrible tease of like, ooh, here's Alexa Bliss staring at it. So I mean, we know that they're going to turn her or not turn her. I guess Nikki Cross may go heel while they turn Alexa Bliss face, but make her kind of like a.
I don't think so, only because the way that Alexa had just smashed the cup on Friday, essentially signifying the ending of that friendship. I'm still looking at Alexa Bliss as the heel.
Yeah, but if Alexa Bliss aligns with the Fiend and the Fiend's babyface, and from what all the
Fiend is not a babyface. Face maybe slow burn, but he's not a traditional babyface by any stretch of the means.
But every news source, every speculation is that Roman Reigns is going to be the heel for SmackDown behind, and with Braun Strowman behind him as the big heel. Not together, but that's going to be the two main heels on SmackDown, and the babyface, the person they're going to make babyface is the Fiend Bray Wyatt. That is every news source, every article you can find out there right now is a babyface Bray Wyatt with Alexa Bliss basically being the speaking part. They want to make him a true babyface. That's what all the news sources say, along with Bliss as the speaking part. Like she's going to be the thing that controls the Fiend. She's going to be the thing that can, bring the goodness out of the Fiend. Oh, son of a cat! What did you do?
Here's the thing: all of these news sites can say what they want. They are not the writers. They are not the producers of these segments. So ultimately,
no. Don't ever play that again. Oh God, why is my camera stuck? I am horribly stuck. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
That's good news.
On my end, you look just fine. You look and sound just fine.
Oh, but am I moving?
Yeah.
Okay, so my screen's just got me frozen. That's fine. Okay. Well, that's the theory of what they want to do. That's the direction they're talking about going. What they're going to do, I don't know. But that is Payback. I mean, that pretty much rounds it up. Another thing that was missing from the night was Retribution. So.
Now, I saw just on Twitter a moment ago, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com made a comment talking about, notice how Retribution never shows up when Roman Reigns is on the show.
Is that what we're heading for? That's...
Possibly. It could just be a coincidence of how they wrote the show, but that could also be a foreshadowing. We don't know until it plays out.
I guess. So... Well, This has definitely been an interesting night. Payback has been an interesting situation. It's left a lot of what ifs, I guess, which is pretty good. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw or what to expect on SmackDown, but we've kind of reached this point. This has been your Payback review. We've seen some entertaining stuff. We gave you some ideas. We discussed a lot of different topics. But this has been The Value of Wrestling with myself, the big time BT Baldwin.
Paul Clark.
And we are The Value of Wrestling podcast. We hope you enjoy. Now remember, if you liked what you saw tonight, you need to go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up at the bottom. Then go down to that button and hit subscribe so you can get the latest news, information as we put it out. New videos are going to pop up whenever we can get them together. So hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified. Hit that bell so you'll get all your notifications. And share. That's the biggest thing. We need you all to share this with all your friends, family members, and everybody who's into wrestling. And like Paul's is doing there, hit that big thumbs up. But I thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.